everyone, and today is Russian Thomas Fan 2010 here, and today I'm gonna tell you a history of Russian railways. And these railways are 187 years. Also, they're very old.
But
From the very start to very end, they became a commercial success.
1830s.
Then I'm gonna tell you. In Russia, this is very hard to carry passengers and goods. They needed another transport to transport them. But somehow they've got only the one plan, and the Stephenson's rocket, the popular in Russia, wanted to have the railways too. So the first engine was built by Cherepanov brothers. Ever since the 1834, they built a steam engine, but he's a bit look like an engine. And look, that is the first steam engine in Russia. How he look like? He has no buffers, no lamp, only his usual part. It has only funnel, smoke box, firebox, boiler, buffer beam, wheels, and his tender. And somehow they invented the whistle on this engine. Then the steam engine deliver the goods only, but the Russian needed somehow a passenger engine to deliver passengers. So later they built one from England. So later in 1836 they built a new engine, Provorny, to look after the passenger traffic. But he's been running since every year. He run this railway. His very first official passenger engine in Russia. Later, in 1837, they finally opened their official Russian railway from the St. Petersburg to Tsarskoye Selo. This railway is the very first run this railway until they later retired from service in 1850. In the 1840s, they received a new engine, the 440s, without cabs, but they still running this line until it closed in 1847. That's a dark story. Very dark story of railways. In 1951,
but they soon built new railway.
They officially opened the Nikolaevskaya Railway, also known as Moscow and St. Petersburg Railway. In 1850s, they built more steam engines. They built Moguls, 460s, and many others. In the Russia in 1860s, was a big year for railways. They built in every city, every railway, including Nizhny Novgorod, aka the Gorkovskaya Железная Doroga, which means the Gorkovskaya Railway, built in Nizhny Novgorod. That's my home, where I live. So later, in 1860s, they built even the new railway, Yugo-Vostochny, in 66. This is ran from Belgorod, Voronezh, Tambov. In 1870s, they built more engines, more railways, more rolling stock, and they started to build more stations. And everything they made, they building every engine, Kolomino, in every year, the swarm of them, and even the international. In the 1880s and 90s, they building more engines. Then quickly, they are arriving from every country. As well, they building a tank engines too. The first tramway in Nizhny Novgorod was built in 1896. In the 19s, they built the steam locomotive. In 1906, the Ovechka, even the book published. Ovechka, the steam locomotive, published by Dmitry Negrevtov. In 1910s, the operation of steam locomotive works in Sormova was operated. The first steam locomotive is S68. More engines in Kolomino was built. Every engine as the first L steam locomotive. In 1920s, they built the Stalin engine and the first narrow gauge engine. And in the end, they built the air steam locomotive. In 1930s, they built the streamlined engine and built a Red Arrow. And in Moscow, they built the underground in 1935, and operation of Gorkovskaya DZD was operated too in 1939. Then the World War came. In the end of the World War II, they made the Railway Series book. In the 1950s, Russia wanted to make a big engine, just like to compete with America's Big Boy. In 1956, the end of the steam come. Diesels and electric engines gonna replace the steam locomotives. In 1960s and 1970s, they built more and more diesel and electric engines. more to replace the old steam locomotive. Everything was coming to replace. In the 90s, 80s, the Olympic Games came, and they built their own high-speed train just to compete with Japan's bullet train. In the 90s, the Sega and Nintendo has a rivalry. They built, in the end, the new high-speed train, Sokol, and in 2000s, they built the Sapsan. And in 2010, I was born and passionate about the trains. More high-speed trains coming to Russia. Lastichka, Strij, and even Allegro. They built the museum in 2017, and in 2018 they have the FIFA World Cup, and in 2020 they've got COVID problems, and I in the 2021 write a book and the future plans coming on the Russian railways. I hope you all enjoy video. That's all folks, goodbye!